Have you ever noticed how the loudest voices aren't always the most powerful? In a world that often rewards the bold and the boisterous, there's a different kind of strength, a quiet power that can reshape lives, mend broken hearts, and build bridges where there were once walls. This is the power of compassion. Today I want to share a story with you, a story about a man named Arthur, a retired librarian who discovered that the most profound impact he could make wasn't found in grand gestures, but in the simple, quiet act of listening. Arthur lived in a small, sleepy town. His days were ordered and predictable. He'd wake up, tend to his small garden, read the newspaper cover to cover, and take a long walk to the town square. For years, he'd noticed a young woman, Sarah, who sat on the same park bench every single day, staring into the distance, her expression a mask of sorrow. The townsfolk would whisper about her. They'd say she lost her job, that her fiancé left her, that she was just lost. They'd walk by, offering a quick, pitying glance, but no one ever stopped. Arthur was different. He wasn't a man of many words. In his long career as a librarian, he had learned that the most important stories are often the ones left unsaid. So one sunny afternoon, he changed his routine. He bought the cups of tea from the local cafe and walked over to Sarah's bench. He didn't say a word at first. He just sat down, placed one of the cups on the bench beside her, and sipped his own. Sarah flinched, surprised. She looked at him, then at the tea, her eyes filled with suspicion. Arthur simply smiled, a gentle, unassuming smile, and looked out at the town square with her. They sat in silence for a good 10 minutes. It wasn't an awkward silence, but a comfortable one. Like two old friends sharing a quiet moment. Finally, Sarah whispered, "Thank you." Arthur just nodded. The next day, he did it again. And the day after that. For a whole week, their routine was the same: tea, silence, and a shared view of the town. Arthur never asked her what was wrong. He never offered advice or platitudes. He just offered his presence. He offered a space where she didn't have to pretend, where she didn't have to explain her sadness. He simply shared it with her without judgment. Then, one day, Sarah started to talk. It wasn't a flood of words, just a trickle. She told him about her dream of being an artist, a dream she'd abandoned after years of being told it was impractical. She spoke of the crushing weight of expectation and the loneliness that followed when she felt she had failed everyone, including herself. Arthur listened. He didn't interrupt. He just listened, his quiet attention a lifeline in her sea of despair. He learned that her fiancé hadn't left her. He had passed away suddenly, a year prior. He was her biggest supporter, the one person who believed in her art. With him gone, her passion died too. The town's whispers had it all wrong. They saw a story of failure, but Arthur was hearing a story of love and profound loss. As she spoke, Arthur saw the vibrant, passionate person hidden beneath the layers of grief. After she finished her story, her face streaked with tears she no longer tried to hide, Arthur finally spoke more than a few words. He didn't say, "It'll be okay," or "You need to move on." Instead, he said, "Your love for him sounds like it was a beautiful masterpiece. And I believe the person he loved so much still has more masterpieces to create." His words weren't revolutionary. They were simple, but they were delivered with such genuine belief, such pure compassion, that they landed right in the center of Sarah's heart. For the first time in a year, she felt seen. Not as a tragedy, not as a project to be fixed, but as a person worthy of understanding. That day was a turning point. Sarah didn't magically get better overnight. Grief doesn't work that way. But something had shifted. The heavy blanket of loneliness had been lifted, just enough for a little light to get in. She started bringing a small sketchbook with her to the park. At first, she just doodled. Then, she started sketching the people in the square the way the light hit the leaves on the trees. The gentle, kind face of the old librarian who sat with her. Arthur continued to sit with her, but now their silences were often punctuated by her showing him a new sketch, her voice a little brighter each time. He never critiqued her work. He would just look at it, a warm smile on his face, and say something like, "You really captured the feeling of the wind today," or "This one has a lot of heart." He was watering a flower that everyone else had thought was dead. Months passed. The town started to notice the change in Sarah. She was still quiet, but she wasn't invisible anymore. She'd smile at passersby. She even started selling some of her sketches at the local weekend market. Her art was beautiful, filled with a depth and emotion that resonated with people. It told stories without words, much like Arthur himself. One day, Arthur arrived at the bench to find it empty, but there was a small, wrapped package waiting for him. He opened it. Inside was a framed charcoal portrait of himself, sitting on that very bench, a cup of tea in his hand, a gentle, listening expression on his face. The detail was incredible. It wasn't just a likeness, it was his essence, his quiet strength. Captured on paper, attached was a note. It read, "Arthur, you didn't save me from drowning. You taught me how to swim again. You did it without a single lesson, just by sitting beside me until I remembered I had the strength. Thank you." This story reminds us that compassion isn't about having all the answers. It's not about grand, heroic acts. It's about showing up. It's about offering a moment of your time, a sliver of your attention, and the unconditional gift of your presence. It's the courage to sit with someone in their darkness without needing to switch on the light, but trusting that your quiet company is a spark of its own. Think about your own life. Who is the Sarah on your park bench? A coworker who's been unusually quiet? A friend who keeps canceling plans? A family member who says they're fine when you know they're not? Maybe you don't need to find the perfect words. Maybe you don't need a solution. Maybe all you need to do is show up, sit with them, and listen to the silence. The quiet power of compassion can't be measured in likes or shares. It's measured in the slow mending of a heart, in the return of a smile, in the rediscovery of a forgotten dream. Arthur didn't change the world, but he changed Sarah's world. And in doing so, he reminded us all that the most powerful thing we can do for another person is to simply, quietly, and compassionately be there. Thank you so much for watching and for sharing this time with me. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more stories about the quiet stuff. Thanks that connect us all. See you next time.